an occasion where you might need an extra hub, an extra bridge. And then the bridge would just integrate right with your other and into your application. When you set it right up, it comes right up into your application. It's already there. You don't even have to choose it or anything. It's just part of the application. So you can set, I've had one where I've set one on down here by the beach in Estero, 3-story home, well built, still concrete house. They had shutters on the downstairs level with the bridge, and they had an issue. I had to go out there because it wasn't communicating with most of the shutters there. Well, because they tucked it in behind or on the side of a huge concrete pillar, so I had a tough time getting through there and getting to the other motors.
But remember, we work in bidirectional protocol system. The motors inside work like receiver and emitter.
Right.
Now, if you have 20 motors in installation, the motors between the motors speak between the motors.
So like a mesh system, I mean, have you heard that? So it'll each communicate. It'll be a transmitter for each one. It's not exactly like the mesh because the mesh can self-heal and stuff like that. I don't know if these do.
Right.
Donde si uno se apaga, it won't because it won't.
You know, if the motor don't have current and don't write the signal, you can see in the ATP.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of bidirectional on the Eurotronic application. It tells you a lot of information.
And remember, this system works in radio protocol, not Wi-Fi protocol, because Wi-Fi
is different.
It's limited. You can work perfectly at 30 or 35 meters. But with radio system, bidirectional, you can work between 120 to 150 meters.
So that's great range. So and like I said, and this one that I had to do was the third story. They had one shutter in a particular third level bedroom, which that hub was never going to get to. You know what I mean? So I had to plug in one up there, and it was a piece of cake. And I thought I would have to just set it up like I did the other one, name, and I'll do that. As soon as you put it onto the network, it finds it in the application, and that shutter shows up on the application the way if it was just that one bridge. So
our objective is the installation people stay less time for install the tubular motor. For this, you don't need to have problems. We need that you have facilities, and all will be very quickly and very easy.
Right.
Because you can install. You can install, or you can put more shooters if you can do it quickly.
Quickly, right?
Easy. We need that you win money. Because we want to use more more shutters.
So sure, if you sell more shutters, obviously it sells more motors. And, everybody is happy, and I mean, we want to give you that level of support so that you know that in any situations you have, you can always call here, and we'll rectify whatever situation we have. I mean, that's just what we do around here. We're not, we stand by the products that we manufacture, the products that we sell and represent. So that is paramount here for that. Excuse me. All right, so we'll hit the next one here. Accessories. They have the pretty much any accessory that you would need. Wind sensors, as you can see there, most times. Not too many. I haven't had too many calls. I had one the other day asking about one. They're not very prevalent around here.
Sorry.
Sure.
We have this accessory that we use a lot in Europe. When people install a battery motor in a shutter, normally if you don't put the solar panel, you need to connect a charger in the future. Now with this connector, you can do a hole here in the shutter, but in the part inside of the home. Now when the customer wants to change, you don't need to open anything for find the connector. The connector is here on the shutter. Inside the home.
Nice. Good. So, the only thing is you have to route that through there, But other than that, it's a good feature. That way, the client doesn't have to come out and do it. But then again, you can offer that as a service to them. If you don't want to take the risk of getting that through there, because you already have a battery operated motor where you're not running wires or anything like that. And now this kind of takes you a little bit back to that electric where you got to drill and run things through walls. So, that's a great feature if you want for the client, if they want to do that. If there's clients out there that don't want to mess with anything, then you can offer them the service to go out there and just take that cover off and plug in and charge. I believe on your application, they'll be able to see what they've what you've installed and what you've programmed
Mm.
and see levels so that you can now target that client later on and say, hey, your levels are off on here, you know what I mean? And if you know that your job, you know it's a high situation, and you might want to send the techs out, to
Mm.
get that charged up, or even if it's disconnected, you can see on there if it's disconnected. And you say, hey, you have a you call Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, you have an issue with shutter number 9 I see here on the application. Is everything okay? And then maybe they're not even aware of it. And then service, you go out there and on the low season of installations, service keeps everybody afloat.
Mm.
So it's important, and that's since I started was important that you always made sure that you had a good service department, obviously quality, parts, in order to supply that out into the work, because that, like I said, when there's not those installs coming in, the service, and then service people are a little more particular sometimes on service, because you know you're you're getting in everything's a little more dirty too, you know what I mean, because they've been already there. You are going to get more dirty, the area is more dirty. New installs, pristine, everything goes in, it's pretty quick, you've done it, now you're going back and somebody else has done it. So sometimes if you didn't do the job and you got to go back, it's a little more difficult for you to do that. But that's a great feature, I think, in that application to have, where if you can utilize that and set it up somehow, for you to take advantage of it. I think that's something you should really really look into.
Listen, this adapter, this cable, this wire is 2 meters long,
Okay.
and in Italy and France, all customers use a lot because they put the battery motor in the shutters in a home of people that, how do you say, minusválido, que va with road of
Disabled.
shade of road, yeah.
Mhm.
And they put the charger, this connector, inside the wire here, and he put here and 1 meter or left half
Mhm.
meter
Gotcha.
of the floor.
So you can reach.
Now the people can go with the shade of
Mhm.
roads and can chase literally. And no, you don't need how do you say, una escalera,
Right. You don't have to get up onto a
No.
higher, a step stool or a
Mm.
ladder or anything. They'll route this cable down,
Yeah.
since it's 2 meters long, put it on the side of the profile or your
Mm.
build out or whatever. So anybody who can't, physically get on to a step ladder, or like you mentioned, a disabled person on a wheelchair or something, they can come up to it and get to that level and plug it in and have their shutter work. So again, battery, 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 battery. It's a great option.
Bidirectional.
Bi-directional.
I will be repeating so many times today.
Constantly communicating. But that's a feature for you as a dealer when you go out and you try to sell your job. You know what I mean? Most people are probably not even talking about this in the industry, if they're not familiar with it. But if you start explaining to them what it is and how it works and how it can be integrated with their smart homes, then it's a great feature and a great selling feature. Interior blinds, just like we were talking about that motor, blackouts, shades. Um, you read a little bit on there, it gives you some weight ratings and stuff like that. We obviously, if you order from us, ready to install, whatever, all this is already figured out. You just put in your dimensions and it spits out what it's calculated for, and we built that way. Obviously, if you're buying just the motor to do services and stuff, but I'm pretty sure everyone here has been around long enough, and you kind of know what comes out. You got what to look for to put back in. You know what I mean? So, but again, it's available here on their on their websites and on their literature, all that information, which they go into pretty good detail. So it takes a little bit to look at all of it, but it does have a lot of great details in there. So obviously, 100 newton meter, 50 newton meters override motors like any other system has. Obviously, we won't have this type of, be a standard universal.
It's very important. The head of this type of motor, we do it in aluminum,
Mhm.
and the how to say, el rodamiento, el piñón interno, es más grande para transmitir más potencia, a diferencia de otras.
What?
El piñón de transmisión, cuando metes la manivela,
Uh-huh.
esta cabeza de aluminio es un poco más grande porque
Oh,
el
okay.
rodamiento es más fuerte, más potente.
So they beefed up the inside of that head where your gear is or your manual override, so it's a little more resilient. A lot of people, it's a great feature to have the override. Like you said, when you don't, in case you don't have any sun or you don't have any power, it's a good feature to have. We pretty much, we pretty much don't stock very many that don't have an override anymore. Just logistically and to buy, you know, it's easier just to settle on a manual override. If you choose it, then you get the override on there in the whole. If you don't choose it, then it's just the motor there. Later on in the future, if you had to, now go back and say, hey, I can modify your shutter to make it manual, then you go do it as a service, and you can rotate it in whatever position you want. Put in a universal, and now they have that option.
It's easier for repairs also.
It is easier for repairs. That's a great point. Anytime you're working on something trapped, you know what trap means, wall to wall. The override option is a lifesaver for your service crews when you go out there to try to service these shutters. They're going to be huge, and if they're stuck, you want to have a way to bring them down. So manual override option is crucial in those type of applications, and that's why a lot of what we do here is just manual. Bigger motors are a little different. Our 300 manual, that has a big base on there. That one we can't fit it within its container. So on your dealer, you have that extension in order for it to fit that, but you can't do it on a trap. I mean, you can if you wanted to, but then you have that offset and you have that filler. It all depends. It's if the client is receptive to that. Most aren't. Most will just give you that option to go straight to the wall. So that's the only difference on that large motor. But we do have other motors. It's not a Eurotronic, but it is an AHT that is the style of head that would fit in there. It's a little bit smaller. I think it's already on the menu there. The 180s. So it's the same diameter as the 159 millimeter tube, so it'll fit inside a 70. So we can stretch those out a little bit more. It'll lift a little more capacity on there. So when you go and you put sizes in there, you'll see what motor it shoots out. If it's a big one, more likely within a certain range, it's going to shoot you a 180. It'll be our large tube, but it'll be a 180 motor in there if it can lift. So something to think about.
For us, the most important part of this motor is the head. Now we prefer to do this in aluminum, not in iron or plastic parts.
Right. And that's for the most part in the industry that they've done that. Most of them will be aluminum. Corrosion. Most of it is outside. In the weather. So it's advantageous to have it out of something that's not going to corrode very easily. So it's a good feature to have. Nothing. Like I said, the plastic that they do have are highly engineered plastics, and there is some plastics in there, but like I said, highly engineered, and they, for the most part, I've never seen any of them break. What usually goes out is probably like your receivers, and customer mistakes when they lower it onto something, so they spin the head out, and then those are basically things that happen to them. But as for the gearing and all that stuff in there, never been an issue.
Let me explain one thing about the battery motors that we was explaining before. We changed a part of the software of the motor for the USA market. Let me show you. Normally, this motor works with a remote control. Let me put inside the memory the motor, the control. We only need to push stop, and you put inside the memory the remote. Normally, you work like between the remote, but if a rise and how to say hurricane, or an special situation that you need to go quickly to close the shutter or open the shutter, and you cannot find the remote, or the remote is
It's a good
empty,
feature.
you have battery, we put a emergency button directly to the battery. Now, if you push here, you can open or you can close directly with this emergency button. You don't need to remote. You don't need to push the remote. It's very important. If you have a situation, an emergency situation, you cannot find the remote, you can go directly to push the battery, and you can close or open the shutter.
Usually, how often do these motors usually need maintenance? Like
Maintenance?
yeah,
Everything is self-contained. Everything is it's already greased inside. Yeah, if the drive gets damaged, which is rare also. Like I said, there's not very many things mechanically that go wrong with them. It's usually electronic or customer error where they close it onto something and it damages the head. Um, because what will end up happening is these uh, these little notches in the tube, when this sits in here, especially on the plastic ones. There's some that are made out of plastic, like the smaller one here. It's made out of plastic, so it's more prevalent to strip if it did. But you'll see here on their larger motors, it's an aluminum casting, much stronger.
For shutter motor, we use an aluminum. This is an
So
aluminum.
that's a great feature on that because it's going to be a lot harder for that to strip out of there. Typically on the plastic, it'll strip out of there, and then the motor's shot. It's done. You got to replace it. But as for maintenance, there is zero maintenance on the actual tubular motor itself. You have maintenance on your curtains, on your on your slats, your track, all that good stuff.
In Eurotronic, we prefer to less money, but give you a very high quality product.
Right.
We want that you don't have any problem.
Yeah, and you'll see if you start to notice on a lot of the other motors that those are plastic. So that's good to have on there. But like I said, maintenance, just your shutter itself. You know what I mean? Which is right, of course. But I mean, if you don't maintain that, then it will contribute to issues with the motor later on. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure you keep on top of the maintenance. It's it's critical. You know what I mean? Then again, it's a service that you can provide. You know what I mean? So it's revenue for you when you go out there and service these shutters. A lot of companies neglect that end of things because they're so concerned with installs and stuff like that, getting the big money. But like I said, when that dries up a little bit, what do? You do service, and if there isn't any service, what do? You do maintenance. You know, you got hundreds upon hundreds of shutters that if you're a small company that you've done, that you have records of, and you know what you use, what products you use, it's much easier for you to target that client and let them know that you can offer them a maintenance package and you can go in there and you know there's different levels, but whatever you decide to do, if it's you know advantageous for you and it's profitable, then by all means you should offer it out there. Have a crew just set up for maintenance and keep it moving. You know. So this is that the 5-wire here. So connection to wire switch and push button. That's going to be great. Hopefully we get that in here soon in my hands, and we'll be able to get that working and see uh, how easy and how well it works for us, and then we'll let you know, and then we'll get it on into your shutters or on your shelves at your factories or shops. So as soon as that comes in, then we'll test that out, and I'll make sure that we'll send out. I'm sure some type of announcement that we have it in, been tested here, and ready for you to take possession of. So there's some of the accessories you've seen already. The bridge, some of the remotes, manual override. Obviously, that we don't usually use that one.
Special for awnings.
Yeah,
renaissance sensor and movement sensor for awnings.
Right. Typically around here, we typically probably use more of a move sensor. haven't used too many of the wind sensors on any awnings.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if any of you do awnings, but typically you put the little vibration sensor, you set it to its sensitivity, and you put it on your awning. So when it starts to vibrate with the wind,
Mhm.
it picks up in there, and then it says, "Okay, I'm going too much," and then it starts to retract itself. So it doesn't.
Or for this type of curtain, you can use this movement sensor. You can put here, and if this curtain moves for the wine,
Gotcha.
go up.
Right. Most on hurricanes are usually using the wind, but it'll work the same. If it feels the vibration, and depending on how sensitive you set it, it'll take it up. So it's kind of a good thing to have sometimes. Again, things that you accessories that you can sell to the end user, your client. You know what I mean? The more options that you can give them, the better place you are on your bid. If they're if you have other companies bidding against you on those fronts. 15 channel remote. There's some on the table over there. The beauty about those is that you can cancel out channels, and you don't need to use the whole 15, and you only need 8. So you can cancel out the remaining and just use the 8, so the client isn't constantly scrolling through all the channels to get to it. You know, um, those remote controls can be changed over to unidirectional, but their unidirectional protocol is not the same as our older unidirectional protocol motors. So they'll work with any bidirectional, but you can't convert it. There is some remotes that we have that you can convert and that will work with your old style unidirectional motor, and then you can convert and make it bidirectional.
This is the one channel remote. Same, but without LCD.
Right.
And in the 15 channel, we put inside and in the software, I put how to say, una función especial muy cómoda.
Mhm.
Let me show you.
It has a special function.
Normally, if you are using many channels, normally the customer wants one channel for open or close all shutters that you have in the installation. Here, in all systems, you don't need to do the general channel. We have it inside the remote. You don't need to do it. If you are using 5 channels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you don't need to do the 6 channel general for all shutters. If you go directly to 0, this is the general channel, and all motors move at the same time. You don't need to do it. It's do it.
Yeah.
It will not. It is.
So on the 0 on most bidirectionals, and our unidirectional as well, will be 0 will be the master, so it will operate everyone up or down or stop. So that's a good thing to show sometimes the client. Sometimes, if they ask, obviously, because if they're not paying attention, they get into some problems. So sometimes I read the customer, and see whether I want to now give them a little extra tidbits. You know what I mean? If they're capable or they're able to handle it, because then it becomes a nightmare later on for us, service or whatever it is, warranties. Because as you know, if you go out there and you do a job within a certain period of time, and even though it was maybe the client error, they always want to come back at you for a warranty issue. You know what I mean? So you got to make sure that you know what you did, and what the probably the cause of the issue that resulted. And you don't want to be too tough and say I'm not going to warranty unless it's something drastic. But sometimes you might give them one time. You know what I mean? That this is what happened. Try to avoid these situations, and then next time obviously come out and charge them what you need to charge them. But again, that's up to you. Le dije que eso se pueden cancelar también canales, ¿no?
Yes, sir.
So, like I said, you can cancel out channels because they don't make a 5 channel. They only make a 1 and a 15, for the simple reason that you can use the 15 and cancel out the rest of those channels, and it'll be a 5.
You can use all channels that you need. If you only need 5 channels, you can transform the remote in 5 channels.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is what we've talked about, the manual override,
Mhm.
the reliability. Like I said, I only had one situation and that was I didn't feel confident enough to leave it in there. Basically, electronic. It's usually never mechanical. It's always going to be an electronic issue, and that's like anything. You know what I mean? They're putting small components together into a small little box, and then it could fall. You know what I mean? And they're not testing it after the fall because they've already tested prior to the fall. So then they put it in there, and then we get it here, and that could be a possibility. I usually will, if I'm having troubles with setting up remotes and stuff, I typically will, my first thing would be to change the battery. You know what I mean? If I have a customer call me and say there's an issue with my control not working, and I know, let's say it was a relatively fairly new install, then we know, more or less the time frame. That's probably the first thing I let them, change out the battery. Like I said, they sit in there for a while, and they could drain. Even though they're separated, all the Eurotronic is separated contact wise from the actual contacts on your remote. So that's one thing I do want to touch base on. When you go and you pull that tab out, it's kind of hard. So you're gonna want to naturally open the cover and take the cover out. But when you do that, in the back of that battery cover, you got your P2 buttons, and it got a couple of P2 buttons in there. It would be the left top corner one that you'll be utilizing, but it's just a natural position when you take that cover and you hold that remote to depress that P2 button down and yank that plastic out. It changes that remote to unidirectional. If it's an LCD, you'll see it turn to a 1. And then you're going to want to go program, and you're stuck because you can't program because it's changed its protocol. So now you got to go back, take the battery out, depress the P2 button, and pop that battery back in. And then if it's an LCD, it'll say a 2. 2 bidirectional. By default, out of the box, bidirectional. But like I said, sometimes that tab is hard to pull out, and the installer will take the cover off. And then when you hold it, you're holding that button. That's typically what's going to happen if it doesn't register right off the bat, unless for whatever reason maybe there was a combination of motors being mixed into the job accidentally. It's happened. We're trying. We got a better grip on that since we have the 2 lines, and we've pretty much, I wouldn't say eliminated 100%, because some customers do require certain. They'll tell us what they want in there. So for the most part, uh, every production job will be Eurotronic. QR codes, all those motors, great feature. Not a lot of manufacturers have that. They're becoming more and more common.
Very, very important. We don't use typical big manuals with many pages. We use directly a QR code. Now in each product you can find this paper. You do the photo of the QR code, and you have the manuals inside your phone. We can, how do you say, actualizar, actualizamos continuamente. We can update directly the QR code, the link of the QR code, but the QR code is always the same. For us, very, very easy to use this type of how to say, support,
Right?
Because we can how to say, update very quickly and very easy for us.
Yeah.
The most important, we know we sell a technical product. Many times, sometimes our customers needs support, technical support. Many times you are in an installation at 9 o'clock of the afternoon, or you're working Saturday, and JD is in the beach with his girl.
Yeah.
And he can give you a technical
I can't support you at that time.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
Now we have a link of technical internet support that works 24 hours of the day, 365 days a year.
Already had it.
He is working always. You can go directly. You can. Okay, here. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go down. Or go up. Sorry. Now you can sell here the type of the product. If you are doing a blind motor, you can go directly to the link of the blind motors. Go. Push. Okay, and go up. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go. Go down. Here you can find the tubular motor that you are installing or you are using. In each motor, in each product, if you go here to the Eurotronic source, here you can download the manual, very easy manual for understand. But we have okay, it's very easy. You can see with the drawings, the steps are very easy. But if you don't understand any step for the programming for programming the motor, we have little videos, maximum 40 seconds. You can see directly a video. How can I do this part of the setup? Per the filter meter. We have videos, little videos, and you can see very easy, very quickly. How can I do this part of the setup of the motor? You did it. Now, very easy. You can connect here to this.
And it's not even
website.
5 seconds, really. It is for me. It's super easy. I mean, I don't have to mess around with the P2s and lefts and rights. You know what I mean? Up and downs. You know what I mean? This one, the only time you ever have to cover, obviously, if it's on the left side, but it's super easy. It's your up and down. You'll see in some of these.
Very important. We have a DJ ahí, ¿no? Un DJ de inteligencia artificial.
¿Mande?
No, digo que esto es un JD de inteligencia
Oh yeah,
artificial.
yeah. Digital JD. Yeah, sure.
This is very important because we can help you or we can give you a technical support, any hour of the day, any day of the year. And you have all the steps that you can do in each motor. You have all the steps with the little videos.
Here's the change direction on a bidirectional. And that's it. Direction has changed. You don't do anything else. So great website, great support. Very easy to follow. It's a little different than what you're used to, the click clack and stuff. But when you see it in that format, it's easy to understand. When I try to explain over the phone, it's a little more difficult.
I think normally the most important part of the setup of the motor is to put the remote inside the memory of the motor. No. No.
Yeah.
Because this step for us very easy. We can.
It's very easy for me. I mean, I have no issue.
We only need to connect the motor to the current, and the motor moves. Stop. Press stop for 5 seconds, and you did it. Very easy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Very nice. Pairing and removing. I'll hit that video so you can see real quick. But it is basically the same as your old style motors. But just see how it looks on there. Verbiage is a little different than what we're used to, but same stuff. See how you got multiple P2s? That's the one you're going to be operating with all the time. But see where it is? It's a natural position for you to put your finger on it, and then that kind of will screw you up a little bit.
Very important if you are using these videos or these video helps, if you can send to your other people or your customers by WhatsApp, by email, or by
Download?
Email and WhatsApp. And you can send directly to your customer or your people that they are installing in another place. You puedes compartir esto con.
Yeah, you can through social media, emails. You can get all that out, disseminate it to your clients and stuff. If you want to give them that much detail, I don't know if you want to give them that much detail because then they start messing with stuff. You know what I mean? It's up to your discretion. So that was pairing. Pairing. So it's the same as your old style, P2, P2, P2 one time on the new one. It's the same.
Hmm.
Next one is probably to delete. I guess that's what you would call the factory mode. Typically, it doesn't have a factory mode. Like you would have like a Simu Sanfi situation where it does have a factory mode that you got to put it back into factory mode to start changing things and modifying things. This is a lot easier. You don't have to do that. So basically, every time the power goes down, power comes back up. The receiver is looking for commands. It's looking for a new receiver if it needs, if you need to attribute it a new receiver for an extended period of time. As soon as that goes away, then it's back to the state of it just being normal use.
And remember, you can find here all products that we made, all battery motor, radial motor, mechanical motor, all manuals and all videos of each product you can find here.
Is Eurotronic 100 and 300 motors?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Same function as the other ones. So super easy for your installation crews to kind of look at this and say, hey, let's eventually have one where they can play around with. Very simple. Very it's a tubular motor. The special the special ingredients it has is bidirectional. It's the only other thing.
Yeah.
This one here is important. I get this one on the Duya motors. It's a little easier to do. This is when you get it into your step or post mode on your remote. I don't know if you ever come across one on the Duyas where you're hitting the remote and it's kind of like a maintained where you got to keep your button on it for it to operate.
We can do it at the same time of the video.
Yeah. So we'll press
Let me
play. If you're
Can it
and
be?
this is when you get into this situation when your installation crew is not familiar with the setup. This is what happens. They get it into this post mode and they can't get it out, and they're calling somebody to try to get it out.
Now it's working continuously, the motor. And now we can do at the same time of the video.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Now the motor.
Gotta keep hitting it.
And if we do another time, we change the
If
system.
you repeat the process, it'll change.
Remember, up and down for 5 seconds. Stop.
And that's it. So, but that happens when, like I said, when your installation crew is not familiar with it and they start pressing buttons and doing things, it gets you into that situation. So that one's important to know because it's a little different than the Duya is. So I had to learn this one because I had a couple calls on it and I wasn't 100% sure what was happening. So then I had to pull and look and scan the QR code and find the motors and stuff, which is easy enough instead of having to go in, pull out a box and look for the literature, which if you're familiar with pulling the literature out of those boxes, yeah, it's very rudimentary, but it's very difficult to kind of understand sometimes. And it looks very simple, but the way they do it is sometimes. And then if you've ever used like the Gaviota brand motors on there and how to program all those, the way they have that pictograms on there for programming, it's horrible. So this is a lot easier to follow. So they give you the support for all the videos, which it's easy. You look at it. It's sometimes people are more visual. It's easier just to look at a video, or the guys are on the job site. Send them the link. You know what I mean? If they haven't, if they're not up to speed.
Remember, you have here a JD by internet at your service 24 hours a day.
Is there any literature for the 100 and 300 motors since it's not on the website?
There should be hundreds and 300 on the website.
300
Newton motors,
mechanical motor. You don't have anything.
but literature or specs.
No.
No, not for the 300.
We are doing.
Okay.
Because we are changing some things in the website. Now we can put it in a few days. The 300 Newton motor.
But the 100 is in there.
Yeah, 100. Yeah.
100 should be in there.
100 and 120. You can find it in the website.
Yeah. It should be under.
Now you must go to the power. Okay.
Uh,
And remember here you can find all products. If you go oh,
where?
no, if you go to the website and here, go up.
Oh, up here?
No, go up. Go up,
Down.
go up. Okay.
Down.
You can find here the automated system. Here you can find the hub for internet connection to the IPP. You remember the hub, Kumo hub? You click
The hub?
and go up.
Down again.
Down. Go. You can find here the nice.
Okay, home.
No, ves atrás. Atrás. Aquí. Okay. You can go. You can see the steps for install Kumo, the hub system for automatic system. Here. Here you can find the videos too for programming the motor to the APP, for install to the that. Yeah. Yeah. Here you can find all video instructions for all products that we do. The automatic system too. It works in Google and Apple. iOS, and it works with speakers Alexa, Google Home, and Siri. ¿No? Si quieres puedes cortar, es solamente decir que tenemos todos los vídeos para todos los productos. You have all videos for all products and all steps that each product that you can need to know. Y ya puedes seguir con la presentación, el PowerPoint si quieres. Ok, tienes el PowerPoint. Ahí. Ok, aquí seguimos. Aquí vemos los automatismos, que es lo que hemos comentado antes.
So some of the accessories, remote.
Ajá.
This one's new. We don't
This is
have
new.
this one yet.
This is new. We do the new Kumo Wave Matter that is compatible with many new electronic products like Philips, Panasonic, and any other electronic products like robotic cocina, aspirador, nevera. So we are this is a new IPP that in the big brands of electronic products for home
Right.
are working, and we are we increase our radio quote in this Matter IPP.
Yeah, so Matter you'll be able to integrate with a lot of other components, and on this Matter it will act as a router too, and as a receiver. So in that case, you'd be able to extend your ranges on your motors and your receivers and stuff like that. So each one will become a transmitter or a receiver in this sense. We don't have it yet, but again, as soon as we have it, we'll test it out, and it's just easier to integrate. You know, you don't have to do what we do with the bridge, right? It's easier to integrate to your system, already existing home smart systems. So it'd be a good feature for your existing home smart, the smart homes that you've worked on or that you're going to work for in the future. You can have them. Most of them have an IT person. You can discuss it with them. This is what you have to offer, and then you can coordinate with them and make it obviously an easier experience for you because you have the support of their IT to be able to get that integrated into their home.
The idea is to have only one IPP for control all electronic products in your home, because
Right.
you have today an IPP for the freezer, another IPP for
for the vacuum, whatever it is. So, but
another
everything
for the shutters. No, the idea is one IPP that you can control all electronic products.
it'll
in
control all your
home.
devices, and it's just a lot easier to program. It's going to be a lot easier to program everything.
You can use your
No, this is prohibited. Only Eurotronic.
No, yeah. There is. You'd be able to utilize those.
Because you know what for what is this? Because we use a special radio called bidirectional. That and other companies that do tubular motors only use the all unidirectional code and don't
Right.
work with all system. All system we need the feedback of the motor or
Right.
the receiver of the remote.
Right. So in the matter system, you'll have that. It'll strictly bidirectional. This is the receivers.
No.
You know, your external receiver in case you say you have a old job that you went to installed old unidirectional. Old switch motors, and you want to now convert over, and you're maybe adding new, and you have bidirectional on the new, then you can add a receiver to it and make it bidirectional and make it communicate back with everything through the receiver, just like we have our unidirectional receivers. They'll be a bidirectional as well. So it's a good little feature. It's very small, very compact. I don't have one here. Unfortunately, I didn't bring one up. I'll bring one later so you can see it. But very small, very compact. Push in and push down and push in wire connection. So you're not kind of screwing around with those little screws. You just push down on the hole there and you stick the wire in and you're done. Program's the same. Power it up, stop.
This is a special product for use if you have an old installation with mechanical motors, and you in this installation you install new radio bidirectional motors, and the customer wants to control the other old motors in the home. You can sell this receiver and you can use another motors of other brand.
Right. So that's again another added feature for you to actually upgrade the job later, or maybe on the fly. I don't know, when maybe the guys are out there, maybe they spark up conversation with the client and they suggest, or they maybe the salesman neglected to offer it or whatever, and then it's easy enough to just throw it in there after. So it's a great little component. So this is more for probably us here on our end, where we customize brochures and stuff like that. I mean, unless they offer it for the smaller dealers. But este es más como para nosotros, ¿no? Para AHT.
Well, no, because normally people put publicity of your brand, of your company here in the stack of the shutter, but this publicity not always consider the customer. Now we have for all customers, for all your customers, we can offer you for a minimal order of 100 pieces. We can put with laser system the brand of your company here. Now the end customer always can see, wow, this is a very good company. This shutter, this motors work very good. I'm happy with this, and I can show you to I can show to other people,
Sure.
or my family, other. I think this is a very very good idea to put your publicity of your company here in the remote, because the customer always see your brand here.
It is most times they have to go outside and look at that label and that ticket, So that is a good feature that they could offer. It is. I get several calls, on a monthly basis from people out of our area that maybe have purchased from a dealer and now have taken it up to. I had one yesterday from Virginia Beach, and in it's tough sometimes for us because they'll call here because they'll see our name on the sticker. This particular one she didn't see because it had already faded out. So in this case, if they had a remote, which is costing you inside, they'll be able to see it and they'll know who to contact. She just happened to have her contract and stuff like that, and it's specified what products she purchased and when the products were purchased from. So that's how she got our number here, so I communicated back with her. But that's something that you would let us know, and then we would be able to supply you with that.
And the customer can take off the sticker, but with laser you can put here and you can take off.
True.
Possible.
Because most people
we ¿cómo se dice? Se quema. El láser quema.
Yeah. So it gets laser.
Brush, no.
No.
¿Cómo se dice quemar algo? Quemar.
Laser engraving, so it etches it, right?
Mm.
So because if anyone goes out does services on competitors things, at least when I was back there, the first thing we would do is, since they've already contacted us, guess what? We put our sticker on there, and that sticker is no longer valid. We're covering, for instance, here we would be covering an AHT sticker now. In that case, at least you'll know who the original was, in case you can't get the one who covered it up, and now you got to get some type of part that they don't have access to or what have you. It's a good feature, I guess.
I think this is the end.
And that's it for your Eurotronic presentation.
Thank you very much for